Alright, gang. I'm expecting this episode to go to a third trial, because I, don't have a real suspect right now. I mean, obviously that Noble guy is, a jerk, and is probably involved. Maybe he was trying to... I don't know. There's also that eye-taker person. We don't know anything about them. Maybe they were just brought up to tease us for a future episode, though. We'll find out. Alright, yeah, there's too many leads right now. I feel like there's no way this episode can end at the current trial, so strap in. Starting 3-5. Court is now resumed for the trial of Stefanik Dracogen. Let us review the proceedings from 2 days ago. At first, the facts of the case seemed very straightforward. The victim, Justin Wayne. Why is there a colon here? I guess it's okay. That's not that bad. I would have used a comma, but anyway. Put his weight on a poorly maintained guardrail on the refinery grounds. Said guardrail broke, causing Justin Wayne to fall to his death. Oh, I think the writers are also Canadian, so maybe they punctuate differently. However, the defense presented a shocking piece of evidence in the previous proceedings. Traces of transmutation magic were found on the same broken guardrail. This new evidence implies that sabotage, if not outright foul play, played a part in the death of the victim. This evidence is also accompanied by conflicting testimonies from witnesses. All these elements have thrown quite some doubt on the validity of the prosecution's case. Yes, Your Honor, the prosecution maintains that the Dracogen Trading Company is at fault for Justin Wayne's death. Oh man, if Aster shows up, she's gonna lose it in court. Oh man. Even though someone may have sabotaged the guardrails, the prosecution acknowledges that sabotage may have occurred at the scene of the accident. However, we also believe that there are several factors in this case that the court is overlooking. As we all know, several witnesses were present at the refinery at the time of the accident. The harbor master, with the U, Canadian, showing a patron around the refinery. Mosarika Tudor was making a food delivery and entered the building, and of course the victim, Justin Wayne, was obviously present as well. Each and every one of these people had no business being in the refinery that night. In the case of the harbor master and his patron, it would be hardly reasonable for anyone to stop them. God, I know it would stand in the way of the Crown Prince. That may be, but Justin Wayne worked on the freight division and should not have been at the scene. I've already verified this with my client. The victim was not authorized to be at the refinery building. And who stopped Justin Wayne from entering the area unauthorized? Isn't it the defendant's duty to prevent such individuals from entering the building? Yeah. My client can't be held responsible for Justin's breach of the set protocols, and you surely can't hold my client responsible for someone sabotaging the guardrail. The so-called sabotage is only theoretical until proper culprit is found. No, that's not... Okay, those are the rules. I might be compelled to agree with you, Ms. Steelin. What kind of mental gymnastics is that? Every part of the guardrail that had traces on it was rusted. Bending the contracts what happens suits a purpose. Dope. By route of mending. Regardless, is it not the responsibility of the Dracogen Trading Company to ensure that its employees do not wander into restricted areas? Wander? Blaming a potential saboteur puts the cart before the horse. It doesn't just stop with Justin Wayne either. Why was Mosarika Tudor able to enter the building? She doesn't even work for the refinery, yet she was able to waltz into the building without any trouble. Actually, Seolin does have a point about Rika. Shouldn't something have stopped her from entering that area? You doubt that Dracogen would show that kind of negligence. That's true. I believe that we should hear from Ms. Tudor directly. Let's hear how easily she gained access to the refinery on the day of the accident. I've already anticipated that. She prepared. She prepared. Bailiff, please escort Miss Tudor to the stand. You're aware of why I've been called here today? Yeah. I heard everything from the gallery. Then you'll have no problem answering the following question. Did you encounter resistance when you entered the refinery the night of the accident? Witness, may I remind you that you are under oath to tell the court everything that you know? Failure to do so is a crime. Gilp. Irk. No one tried to stop me. Sorry, Tyrion. You have nothing to apologize for, witness. The only one at fault is Dracogen Trading Company and their negligence. Hey, that's... For the record, please testify in detail about how you entered the refinery that day, Miss Tudor. Okay. Whoop. That day, I was looking for Justin in the freight area, but I couldn't find him. I decided to look for him in the refinery's main building. There was some kind of magical door leading into it, but it was unlocked. Nothing really stopped me from entering the refinery building. So, as the court can clearly see, there were no safeguards preventing the witness from entering the restricted area. The witness clearly stated that there was a magical door leading into the building. This was obviously some sort of security door powered by artificery, which is still unlocked and effectively useless. There must be a way to prove the unlocked door wasn't Dracogen's fault. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Cross-product examination. You were there to deliver his dinner to him, am I correct? He's usually in the freight area by that time. I was surprised when I didn't see him there. I was a little worried, so... It seems strange that you'd go looking for him. Why not just leave his food with one of his co-workers? I thought of that, but I also wanted to make sure that he was okay. I was the one that helped him get his job in the first place. It wouldn't look good if you left in the middle of a shift. How did you enter the refinery building, Ms. Tudor? There was some kind of magical door leading into it, but it was unlocked. By magical door, do you mean that it was a door powered by artificery? Yeah, I have a door like it in my restaurant too, but this one looked a lot more complex. But it was unlocked. Why would you or Dracogen need magical doors anyway? The one in my cafe magically locks up the shop when I close it for the day. I guess the door to the refinery building was for the same thing. But that means there was a mechanism to keep out unauthorized personnel, which was effectively useless. The witness entered the refinery and encountered zero resistance. Furthermore, the Inquisition has already logged the specs for the door. Only entrance to the refinery building was a door with an artificery lock. Magical keys can be used to unlock the door for 5 seconds. After these 5 seconds, the lock automatically closes. The door engages the lock. Lock can only be disabled by Stephanic Dracogen. The door could be physically prevented from closing. This would trigger an alarm within the refinery security system. Did you use a key to unlock the door, Ms. Tudor? No, I didn't. As you can see from this report, Stephanic Dracogen was the only person capable of disabling the lock. I guess Mr. Dracogen kept the door unlocked during work hours. This means that it's entirely Dracogen's fault that the victim gained access to the building in the first place. But wait, that's not what I meant to... That is what you implied. Unless you can prove that another person disabled that door. Gulp. Can't refute that statement yet, but you might be able to work with this new information. Regardless, please add the tastament. Mr. Dracogen must have disabled the lock. No one else could have disabled it. Except that kid that has magic lockpicks. Forget the key. would have remembered something like that. If someone told me I wasn't supposed to be there, I would have left. She seemed sincere about that. It was probably an honest mistake. Rika didn't even realize she entered a restricted area, but the fact that she was able to enter it so easily is definitely strange. Dracogen must have had precautions to prevent such a thing from happening. Maybe the employees got lazy and disabled the lock against his orders. It's possible, but would Dracogen really allow something like that to happen? According to Wyatt Earnall, Justin Wayne owed gold to a criminal named just a set of lockpicking and safekeeping tools that could disable mundane and magical locks. He was planning to break into the refinery building. Seems pretty good.
Objection!
Objection. Miss Steele, and you claim that my client expressed negligence by disabling the door. This is the reason why the security door is unlocked, and why the current witness was able to enter the building. That's correct. Your client's negligence allowed unauthorized persons like Justin Wade to gain access to the building. And regardless of any sabotage, Justin Wade died because he was in said unauthorized area. And what if I told you that another person may have disabled the door? Not because of laziness, but for more nefarious purposes. What are you talking about? If you recall, the witness entered the refinery building and spotted Justin Way afterward. This means that Justin Way entered the building before her. So that begs the question, how did Justin Way enter the building? The answer is obvious. He entered the same way the witness did, through the unlocked door. Not quite, Ms. Steelwind. Since the trial began, we still haven't answered why Justin Way entered the refinery building in the first place. He entered the refinery building with the intent of robbing my client's personal safe. I already told you, Tyrion. He would never do something like that. I feel a little guilty about insulting a dead man's name like this, but it's the only possibility that makes sense. I'm sorry, Rika, but there are things about Justin that even you didn't know about. The truth is that he was deeply in debt to a crime lord named the Eidegger, and he was extremely desperate to wipe that debt as soon as he could. Crime lord? What did she see, I take her? I won't ask how you came across this information, Mr. Cuthbert. But what does this have to do with the disabled magical lock? This deal when Justin owned a set of tools that he used for picking mundane and magical locks. The safe that he was planning to rob was located in my client's office within the refinery building. I have witnesses who saw Justin retrieve those tools shortly before the night of the accident. He clearly had a plan to disable any locks that stood between him and the safe. This means that it's entirely possible that Justin disabled the locked refinery door illegally. We're not actually going to bring them in, are we? Yeah, I'm kind of bluffing right now. Basically assaulted one of them. We both assaulted him, Tyrion. She says that as if it absolves her of any guilt. Hold on a minute. You can't just accuse him like that when he can't defend himself. I'm sorry, Rika, but his delinquent friends told me about his plan. He didn't want to rob Dracogen, but he needed the gold to wipe away his debt. If Justin wasn't the one that disabled that lock, that would leave only Dracogen. But there has to be another explanation where neither of them is guilty. It's the one where Rika is guilty. She definitely believes in Justin, but a scenario where both Justin and Dracogen are innocent is too optimistic, if not impossible. Yeah, this trial ain't ending today, okay, in this chapter. It's not as if you're entirely certain of what actually happened that day either. Alright, Rika, you knew Justin better than I did. Let's assume that you're correct. Neither Justin nor Dracogen disabled the locks that day. How did either of you enter the refinery then? Well, someone must have disabled it before then. Wait, let me think through this. Whoop. Plenty of people could have disabled the locks. Maybe one of the employees got lazy and forcefully broke it. There was also that nobleman who was with Mr. Morrison. He's a mage and he could have used magic to do it. It could have also been one of the maintenance constructs. Maintenance constructs. I saw one working on the machines. Maybe one of them broke the lock. I can barely even begin to point out all the issues with your theories, Miss Tudor. If you recall, the entrance lock can only be disabled by Stefanik Dracogen. Even Mr. Cuthbert's theory makes more sense than your list of suspects. Though, she's right. Doesn't matter how many suspects she presents, none of them had the credentials to disable the lock. And I guess there's no possible way any of them could be a mage or have tools. So why do you feel like there is something else wrong with her testimony? The defense would still like to exercise the right to cross-examine the witness. What a waste of time. While the court agrees with Ms. Steele, and we also recognize Mr. Cuthbert's right to cross-product examination. However, it will not allow the defense to waste the court's time. If nothing substantial is gained from your cross-examination, I will not hesitate to end it early. Understood, Your Honor. I will save the game. So he's the only person who had the skill to disable it illegally. Well, how do you know that? Someone else didn't have tools like that. It's certainly possible, but unlikely. The ability to pick magical lock seems like a rare skill for anyone to have. As far as you know, no one else was there unauthorized that day. Except for maybe Astor and Morrison. Steelman, did the Inquisition find any evidence of physical tampering on the entrance lock? Not at all. Furthermore, if an employee had attempted to witness what describing, it would have set off the refinery security system. Sorry, Rika. Well? There was also that nobleman who was with Mr. Morrison. He's a mage. Aw, she's sticking up for him. The Harbor Master's companion would have no reason to perform such an act. Your personal bias might be clouding your judgment, Miss Steelman. What's up, Trick the TM? This isn't merely an extrapolation based on his character, Mr. Cuthbert. The nobleman in question had the legal authority to enter the building. He wouldn't need to resort to such underhanded tactics. Oh, she's right there. As Crown Prince, he could legally enter the Arcane Refinery if he wanted to. In fact, that's probably how he entered in the first place. You would probably know that since you two seem so close with each other. Is she jealous of our relationship with Astor? Maybe it'd be best to avoid bringing up Astor. Could have also been one of the maintenance constructs. Maintenance constructs? Wait, he wasn't supposed to have maintenance constructs. He turned them down. You know, those magical animated suits of armor. Oh, she must have seen an arcane construct while she was exploring the refinery. Arcane constructs only perform the actions that they're ordered to do, and a construct at the Arcane Refinery would only take orders from their administrator, Stefanik Dracogen. Unless you want to imply that Stefanik Dracogen ordered the construct to break the lock. May I remind the prosecution that constructs are prone to error and misinterpretation of their orders. Perhaps this construct accidentally broke the lock while carrying out its usual orders. The Inquisition found no evidence. Well, I think that might end up also being negligence, if that's the case. And even if they had, the security system would have been altered in the moment this happened. Guess we have a lot of contradicting statements to work with this time. Yeah, I need to find a contradiction that's not so readily apparent. One that's not apparent? There's another contradiction in her testimony? I'm not sure, but I just something that fits what we know already. When science industry places. Where's the part that says they didn't hire constructs? Oh, maybe this guy must have said it. On scientists attempted to sell Drake Energy for Arcane contracts, the product is not available anywhere else. However, Stefanik Dracogen did not trust the conscious ability to perform his quest, so you did not purchase any.
Objection!
Yeah. Wait, that can't be right, can it? Rika, you said that you saw a maintenance construct inside the refinery building. Are you sure that it was an arcane construct? Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on them in the Von Sanctus catalogs, but they're not available to the public yet. When you saw this arcane construct, what was it doing? I'm not exactly sure, but it looked like it was doing maintenance on one of the machines. Maintenance on the machines, but it shouldn't have been there in the first place. What was it doing there, and more importantly, who sent it there? Where are you going with this, Mr. Cuthbert? As I've said before, an arcane construct owned by the defendant wouldn't have disabled the lock. I agree. A construct owned by my client wouldn't have done that. But arcane constructs are extremely rare and not available to the general public yet. Furthermore, they are only produced and sold by Von Sanctus Industries. Lloyd Von Sanctus personally sold several products to the Dracogen Trading Company. However, when offered the opportunity to purchase the arcane constructs, my client turned him down. What? My client disliked the construct's flawed intelligence. He didn't want them working at the refinery. He turned down Lord Sanctus's offer in favor of utilizing human labor. I'm doing well. Just got done work. Starting a little early tonight, trying to finish up this episode. And then maybe call it early and go to bed early, on time. I have some podcast editing to do too. There was a little bit of a snafu, so that took longer than I wanted it to. I was supposed to finish that yesterday. First day back in the office from vacation. Welcome back. Did you go to Canada again? Exactly. If my client did not own any constructs, why did the witness see one there? Or to phrase this question differently, who sent that construct there? Down to DC for Otacon? Oh. The inn came down. Gotcha. That's cool. Get any good dungeon meshy swag? I forget if you told me about Dungeon Meshi or if you were talking about a different food anime and then I found about Dungeon Meshi. Really? Nice. Who? Why would anyone send an arcane construct into the refinery? First, let's consider the rarity of arcane constructs. They are highly experimental and not available to the public yet. With all these elements in mind, only one person in the city of Arnex could have done this. Wait, you can't possibly mean... I already knew about Delicious in Dungeon. Gotcha. You think you told me about Free Ran? I've had a few different people talk to me about Free Ran, so you might have been one of the first, but maybe I didn't follow up on it right away. I do, Ms. Steelwind, who sent the arcane construct. Few individuals had access to an arcane construct, and even fewer had the ability to disable the locked door without alerting the security system. But like... Oh, he could have ordered the construct with send message. Interesting. Got some Senshi keychains, that's your usual things. Only one individual could have done everything that I described. Except how did he open the door still? Unless he just snuck in when someone else opened the door. Lloyd Von Sanctus, the noble lord of Arnex. You can't be serious. Are you accusing Lord Von Sanctus of illegally sending a construct into the arcane refinery? What possible reason would he have to do that? When Rika saw the construct, she said that it was working on the machines. But that construct was sent by Von Sanctus. It didn't actually work for Dracogen. Wait, could that mean? Rika, when you saw that construct in the refinery, was it carrying anything? Yeah, actually. Uh-oh. Is it carrying a rod? Rod of Ruin? Got stuff for usual series, One Piece, JoJo. Oh man, I keep forgetting to watch JoJo. It was carrying a large cylindrical machine and it looked pretty heavy. Like it would normally need to be held by 2 people. Yeah, how did you know? It all makes sense now. Von Sanctus has been far too aggressive in pushing these charges. It wasn't because he was desperate to get rid of Dracogen. It was because he needed to cover up for what actually happened. Still waiting on an announcement for Steel Ball Run. Is that a sports anime? Mr. Cuthbert, where are you going with this? You see, Your Honor, the tool that the witness saw this contract carrying wasn't just any tool. It was a rod of ruin / mending, an artificery tool that channels transmutation magic. Transmutation magic? As in magic that could be used to weaken and sabotage parts of the refinery? No, are you seriously accusing... Your Honor, Lord Von Sanctus had a construct into the arcane refinery to sabotage it. In other words, Lord Von Sanctus is responsible for that guardrail breaking. Oh, next season of JoJo's name. It's sort of a sports anime? Okay. I think that's enough out of you, you upstart commoner. Horse racing. Oh, okay. Gotcha. The judge really needs to stop these guys from just barging onto the stand. That's the bailiff's job. To be fair, he's going to stop a noble from a pillar family. We have had enough of these blatant accusations. If you want to sling mud at my name, you will do it to me directly. Lord Von Sanctus, I would highly advise against doing this. Please. Do you think I'm like that fool Pierce? The defense theory is laughable, and I had several pieces of evidence that can easily prove my innocence. He has a good poker face. The eye is still telling you that he's a little desperate. Very well, if the defense wishes to accuse you, I see no harm in allowing you to defend yourself. The court would very much like to hear your testimony on the matter. Ugh. My clients are so dumb, is what she meant by that face. It is possible to order a construct to complete a complex list of tasks, but doing so is ill-advised. I'm sure you observed this with the Night Grave trial. Constructs are extremely prone to error when completing a long list of tasks. According to the defense, the saboteur stole a rod of mending and used it to sabotage very specific sections of the refinery. I would never trust a construct to discreetly complete such an intricate set of tasks unsupervised. And before you ask, I was miles away from the refinery at the time of the accident. I have several associates who can confirm this alibi. Therefore, I had no way of observing this construct from afar, nor did I have any way to communicate with it. That actually makes a lot of sense. The Nightgrave trial revealed the risks of ordering a construct to commit a crime. But nevertheless, Rika saw a construct at the refinery that day. That's indisputable. Big thing at Otakon was Final Fantasy with English voice actors. Oh, okay. Like they were in person? Or do you mean that... Yeah, alright. How did he account for the construct's error-prone logic? I know the answer, but I don't know where to press him on it. Is that not a massive flaw in the construct's design? Art of history can only do so much. It's difficult enough to create magical items that respond to verbal commands, but our magic is still not advanced enough to replace a common sense of a living creature. The arcane construct is still a marvelous invention. You merely need to supervise them if you give them complex tasks. But regardless, you admitted that it is possible. Yes, but... Are you referring to what happened? Theodore Roosevelt construct? I am, because I was saying the constructs were designed to aid and abet murder, but they also weren't designed to carry out such long lists of tasks unsupervised. A lot of Redmond's orders fell well outside the construct's intended usage. He ordered it to transport a human body from one point to another, and he even ordered it to play audio to make itself look like a person. I'm sure you know how that ended. Constructs for advanced settings is such unavoidable, so how do you get around that? Yoshinori Kitase, director of the original FF7. Yeah, that's cool. Any news on Part 3? That's correct. As the chairman of Von Sanctus Industries, you would have the resources and know how to use it in such a way. Yes, I suppose I would. But you forget that I couldn't have been there personally. Perhaps you were desperate enough to take a chance like that. Please, I'll admit that I find Dracogen to be a nuisance to my holdings, but I was hardly in a position to resort to such desperate tactics. Wish someone good luck on 3? Oh, cool. That does make sense. He supposed that he was never planning for things to come back to him. If Celeste hadn't cast Detect Magic, no one would ever have known that someone used magic within the refinery. And I suppose you wouldn't mind having these associates testify before the... Lord Sanctus was discussing the blockade being put around the city. Steelwind. I won't go into detail about what they discussed, but the Kingsguard, City Watch, Arcane Inquisition, and myself were present. We can all confirm that he was present at the meeting, although his behavior was quite erratic that day. Ugh, how could I not? People have no care for personal hygiene. It took my retainers hours to disinfect the area. Ugh, can we please stay on subject? Righto. What if the construct wasn't actually active? You could have had one of your servants don the construct as a disguise. Bro. That's... It's extremely dangerous to wear as a construct like a suit of armor. It almost always ends in severe injury and death in the worst case. Furthermore, this supposed construct would have needed to carry out and use a rod of mending. I have many capable servants, but none of them have superhuman strength. Right, your theory only makes it the constructs I'm carrying now. This argument makes a lot of sense, actually. You wouldn't trust a construct to sabotage the refinery alone, especially if there was a big risk of getting caught. But regardless of what he says, Rika did see a construct there that day. You doubt that's a risk? Ensure the construct completed its task correctly. He's noble from a pillar family. He's probably an accomplished mage. Could you use that somehow? Oops. Projects their voice to communicate with the target. Anyone within a 30-foot radius of the target can hear the caster's voice. That seems a little risky. The caster can also hear sounds close to the target, allowing for two-way communication. The target must be a person known to the caster. That person must also be conscious. Otherwise, the spell will fail. Alternatively, the target can be an object that is attuned to the caster's magic. Okay. That seems like a bit of a leap, but I don't really have anything else to go on here. Say what school it is? Conjuration.
Objection!
Von Sanctus, you testified that there was no way for you to observe and communicate with the construct. Am I correct? Yeah. I was at the meeting with Steelwind for the entire day. Anyone there could testify to that fact. I'm not disputing your so-called alibi, but it's not as airtight as you might think. What are you talking about? I was there at that meeting, Mr. Cuthbert. Lord Von Sanctus may have been absent in mind, but he was there physically. Uh-oh. Absent in mind, so his attention wasn't focused on the meeting. Which means that his attention was somewhere else. I suppose you're correct, Miss Steelwind, but I still have one question for you, Lord Von Sanctus. Ha, and what would that be? Gonna look at his spell compendium. Are you able to cast the send message spell? Gah! What? Miss Steelwind, your client may have been physically at the meeting, but his attention was somewhere else, wasn't it? He could have used a combination of spells to view the construct during the meeting. And he could have used the send message spell to communicate with it over a large distance. If my claim is truly false, your client should have no trouble disproving it with his spell compendium. Well... Von Sanctus? You appear to be hesitating, Von Sanctus. I can assume that you do you know how to cast send message? If so, that would put a gigantic hole in your alibi. I wonder if Celeste is gonna learn that spell. Steelwind! You were there, weren't you? My attention was fully there. I needed a cover for me. The idea that I was communicating with a construct is absurd. I'm afraid that I can't say that, Lord Von Sanctus. Stilvind? I did find it odd. Your attention appeared to be elsewhere despite the gravity of our discussion. And I seem to recall you speaking under your breath the entire time. I had always just assumed that you were muttering obscenities, but Mr. Cuthbert's explanation does seem possible. But what are you saying? Aren't you obligated to defend me? I am obligated to represent you to the best of my ability. I am not obligated to forge your alibi for you. You little... Lord Von Sanctus, I'm afraid the court needs an answer. Are you able to cast the send message spell? Fine. I admit it, okay? I am able to cast send message. Got him. Back to the upcoming Uzumaki anime, Hiroshi Nagahama. I thought it was him. What is it? Insane line for the one major guest. Darn. That still doesn't prove anything. His voice betrays a hint of desperation. You have him right where you want him. Now's your opportunity to deal the final blow. There's too much. There's too much. Oh, there's way too much left. These are still there are still two details that don't sit well with you. I looked to see what it was. I saw that Justin had tumbled over the guardrail of the walkway. You saw Justin fall over the guardrail, even though Von Sanctus sabotaged it. Then please enlighten us, Mr. Cuthbert. How could both of their testimonies possibly be true? I think there's only one possible explanation. Both Miss Tudor and Miss Morrison saw someone fall off the walkway. But the person that Miss Tudor saw and the person that Mr. Morrison saw were two different people. The second person that fell into the vat is still unaccounted for. Luckily, you didn't need to prove that the second person existed, but not having an explanation for Astor and Morrison's testimony still irks you. Take the win, dude. However, even if it's not a clean ending, there's only one way forward. And that's revealing Von Sanctus for the petty saboteur that he is. Argument time. Why did you hesitate so long to answer my question, Von Sanctus? You know very well why I hesitated. Why would I willingly give you evidence? You clearly intend to use it against me. Regardless, this entirely disproves your alibi. You could have communicated with your contract at the meeting. By that logic, I could be some ass behind every crime that occurs in Oranax. Someone else could have sent that construct. I may have had the means to commit this crime, but there are plenty of other individuals that could have sent an arcane construct. Product is not available to anyone else. Von Sanctus, you of all people should know that the arcane constructs are not available to the public. When you attempted to sell these constructs to Dracogen, you promised him that he would be the first merchant in Arnax that would own one. Since he refused your offer, that would leave you as the only owner of arcane constructs in Arnax. Yeah, this is definitely Phoenix Wright 5. Wait, isn't that a... Is that a Apollo Justice game? No, wait. It said Phoenix Wright 5. Well, I admit I may not have been truthful when I made my sales pitch. So you're saying that you lied to my client? Oh, please. Every good businessman knows how to embellish the truth when making a sale. I've sold constructs to other individuals. The truth is, I've sold those constructs to plenty of other individuals in Ornax. Dual Destinies. Oh, with Professor Layton? If only. It would be too dangerous to sell it to anyone else. Frankly, Von Sanctus, I find that hard to believe. After the Nightgrave trial, you must have been a lot more fearful about who you sold your constructs to. You only tried to sell your contracts to Dracogen so that you could control him. You wouldn't have done that otherwise. Is that so? Then why don't you prove it? No, Von Sanctus, why don't you prove your statement? This isn't how witnessing works. Show us any invoice that proves you made a sale to someone in Oranax. Gulp. Well, who says a saboteur lived in Ornax when I made the sale? Are you serious? Ornax is a trading hub. Plenty of people come and go from the city. Saboteur could be his family equally secretly entered Ornax. And one of my messengers could have been in the city and carry out the sabotage. I mean, they could have entered it before the lockdown. On Sanctus, you might have been right under any other circumstance, but the Kingsguard locked down the city on the day the accident occurred. No, except for a select few individuals could have left or entered the city, and due to the gravity of the situation, the Kingsguard created profiles of everyone within the city. Why don't we cross-reference the records then, taken by the Kingsguard with the list of individuals you've sold the constructs to? Nope. The first 3DS one? Yeah, I only played the first 3 Phoenix Wright games and like 2/3 of Ace Attorney Investigations. But I do want to play the Apollo Justice games in it. I wanted to play them because MS Guy's in them, but I also heard that MS Guy's kind of a jerk in those games. So I don't know. But I suppose from your reaction, that list would come up empty. So why don't you admit to your crimes, Von Sanctus? Do I have to drag the evidence into court myself? She's a little odd in them. Yeah. Wait, drag is the evidence into court? Of course, how could I forget? What? Ripperino, dude. What evidence? What are you talking about? Why don't you go ahead and do that, Mr. Cuthbert? Bring in your so-called evidence. I don't know where this confidence is coming from, but we can easily detect the traces of divination and transmutation on the constructs you own. Assuming that construct still exists, that is. Gah! I was right. Wait, that's right. If you used a construct to commit a crime like this, you would have definitely disposed of it by now. Even within the blockade, Oranax is a gigantic city. With his resources, he could have hidden it anywhere in the city. It would be a needle hidden within a town of haystacks. I like the extension of that analogy. A town of haystacks. We still have the testimony of Masarika Tudor, and I'm sure many other people saw that contract walking around the refinery. The common folk can hardly be trusted to recognize complex artificery. Besides the actual construct, all you have are several unreliable witnesses. Tell me, Lady Stilvin, can I be convicted of such a serious charge with such evidence? No, I suppose not. Damn it, is he seriously gonna get away with this? No, you still have one card up your sleeve. If you could just find out where he disposed of the evidence, you might be able to direct the Inquisition there. Come on, focus on his thoughts, Tyrion. Activate the Empowered Eye. Your undignified glare will do you no favors. What? Why isn't it working? Uh-oh. The Eye of Horus is a powerful tool, Tyrion. But that's twice now that you've used the Empowered Eye to get out of a corner. If you keep relying on that one trick, you'll never grow as an attorney. One day, you'll find a witness that the Empowered Eye won't work on. This time Mora was right. You've been relying on the Empowered Eye too much. From your silence, I assume that you have no way to rebut my claim. I suppose that makes it checkmate, you upstart commoner. Honestly, I can't believe you'd resort to accusing me of manslaughter. What a crass and underhanded tactic. But I suppose I wouldn't expect anything less from a charlatan like you. Damn it. I didn't win the argument. What the hell are you doing? What? That look on your face. Are you seriously giving up? I've seen you get out of plenty of situations like this. So why are you giving up this time? I'm sorry, Celeste, but I can't use my usual strategies. There's no way to find the evidence that we need. Seriously? There's always a way, Tyrion. If your usual strategies aren't working, then you just need to do something different. She's right. You don't need to see directly into his mind to utilize your skills as an attorney. You may not be able to rely on the Eye of Horus this time, but you've always been able to rely on deductive reasoning. Well, it seems that you have no further questions for me, and you clearly don't have a shred of physical evidence to support your claims. I think I'll be taking my leave. I'm not quite done with you yet, Von Sanctus. Honestly, your desperation is almost pitiful. You should really learn to lose with dignity, Mr. Cuthbert. Yeah, like you did in the chess tournament. He's the last person you want to hear that from. Calling me mind and focus. May not be able to read Von Sanctus' mind in the literal sense, but you can still extrapolate his plan and his actions. Let's explore my theory a little more and see for ourselves if there's no physical evidence. If you wanted to use a construct, you would have needed to maintain constant communication. So to prove that this communication occurred, we would need something that connects to you. A piece of evidence would connect the murderer to Von Sanctus. Some messages can only normally be targeted by architect, public health. People purpose that spell. What piece of evidence would that leave behind? What piece of evidence would connect the murder to Von Sanctus? That. The object that... Huh. Oh. These others to connect the murder. I guess could have been the like. Why doesn't the construct count as an object? Arcane constructs probably don't count as people for the purpose of this one. Can't I just present the pot shards? Better save it. Luckily, on Sanctus, you need something that points directly to him. You're not sure what kind of magic uses to be the contract during this habitat. Do you know that you use send message to communicate with? What kind of evidence would send message leave? Oh. The object that Lloyd Von Sanctus attuned to. Arcane construct isn't a person, so you must have used an object attuned to your magic to communicate with it. This Steelman, we were able to find that object. Would that tie your client to the sabotage? Hypothetically, yes. The Inquisition has divination magic, and they can use it to detect if an object is attuned to a specific mage. Good luck finding such evidence. If I did perform these acts, the remains could be anywhere in Ornax. I'm not sure about that, Von Sanctus. Let's look at things from your perspective. Why would you do the things that you did that day? Knowing that will point us to where you ultimately hid the construct. Yeah? Your intention was to sabotage the refinery without anyone finding out what you did, so how would you dispose of the construct and the attuned item? How could Von Sanctus easily destroy the evidence? Wait, destroy? The evidence was thrown into the vat of volatile liquid. Use the vat of volatile liquid. You suppose that makes sense. Found the remnants of the rod of mending in there too. Did you though? It might have been the construct's remnants. Wouldn't that mean that the object is fully dissolved? Exactly, so there'd be no physical evidence for you to find. That's not necessarily true. You threw the rod of mending into the vat, and that didn't fully dissolve. What? The workers neutralized the liquid immediately after Justin fell into the vat. What? Neutralizing that liquid would have rendered it unsalvageable and useless. Doing that would have cost Drakeagen a small fortune. Yeah, but he cares about people. Unlike you, Von Sanctus, my client values the lives of his workers over his profits. And because of that, the Inquisition was able to find pieces of bone matter and metal within the vat. Wait, the rod didn't fully dissolve. This means that it was thrown into the vat around the same time that Justin fell into it. You wouldn't have thrown the rod into the vat until after you were done with your sabotage. And if you wanted to destroy the rod, you would have destroyed all of the evidence that you needed to get rid of. A piece of evidence that Von Sanctus also disposed of. Anything else Von Sanctus need to get rid of? The construct. You would have also destroyed the arcane construct itself. That's ridiculous. That would have cost him a small fortune. Lady Stilvin, why aren't you? I told you before, didn't I? I will defend you to the best of my ability, but I will not fabricate an alibi for you. You must have ordered the construct to throw itself into the vat to hide any traces of your sabotage. This is the Detective Conan music. Is he like the Dick Gumshoe of the later games? Machine resembling a human threw itself into the vat. This means that anyone looking at the walkway would have seen this. That's it! Somehow, the arcane construct was the second person that Aster and Morrison saw fall into the vat. That's why we didn't find organic matter from anyone other than Justin in there. The second body that Aster and Morrison saw was actually an arcane construct. Long-running anime franchise? Ah, okay. How are you? Wait. Rika was sure that she saw Justin fall off the walkway. It's still like... There is still absolutely no explanation on how Justin died. After she notified Aster and Morrison, they saw the construct break the guardrail and fall into the vat. Wouldn't that mean that the construct disposed of itself after Justin Wayne fell off the walkway? Why would you order it to do that? Because it never happened. Your logic is flawed. He's getting stressed out. Maybe you should try using the empowered eye. Again? No, you don't need it this time. You're so close to figuring this out. You can feel it. So think. If he was observing the construct using magic, he must have seen Justin fall. And for some reason, he reacted by sabotaging the guardrail. Why did Von Sanctus sabotage the guardrail? Why would he ignore seeing that happen? Unless he did this all because he saw Justin fall. Oh, maybe the construct was just there to spy. Von Sanctus wanted Justin's death to look like an accident. It's because you wanted it to look like an accident. Which means that it wasn't actually an accident. Oh, now you're accusing me of intentionally murdering the victim? Why would I ever do that? You said it yourself. My goal was sabotage. Committing murder would have brought unnecessary attention to what I'd done. Those constructs do have a habit of shoving people that are in their way. What if the construct pushed Justin out of the way, causing him to fall over there? Right, because he's just in the way. Aww. He's figuring out everything that happened from just a few clues. Hey, I didn't see you there. I was just walked past him. Acknowledged. What? Hey, watch it. Quit shoving me. Wait, whoa. Holy crap, pull me up. I can't hold on for much longer. Ah, you idiot. What are you doing? What? Grab his arm and pull him up. Acknowledged. Ah, my hand. What in the hell are you doing? Your grip is too tight. Stop that. Oh no, he told him to stop it. Oh man. But wait, I can still... It may have been unintentional, but either way, you would have been at fault for Justin's death, not my client. And if the construct fell in after Justin, your attuned object must be somewhere in the neutralized liquid. No, it's even better than that. Constructs are made from a specific magical alloy, aren't they? Yeah? I'm sure with a few divination spells, you can identify the metal shards from the construct and your arcane focus. And each and every one of those pieces of evidence points directly at you, Font Sanctus. You petulant little upstart. And that's checkmate, Font Sanctus. Oh, he said the thing. Why don't you save us a little time, Font Sanctus? Admit to what you did. Yeah, he's not gonna do that. This can't end here. But he said checkmate. And while you're at it, drop your false allegations against my client. I have nothing to admit to, nor do I have anything to apologize for. Of course not. You're completely blameless, right? Do you think you've achieved victory here today? No, dissidents like you and Dracogen are absolutely deluded. Each and every breath you take only throws Vivengard further into chaos. You talk about these commoners as if they have even a fraction of the power that you have. Lady Steelwind, you need to see reason. They lack awareness of the powers they truly have. What? These people have infected you and His Majesty with these idealistic delusions. I implore both of you to seize the reality for what it is. No, Von Sanctus. The true reality is that people like you become threatened when we challenge your power. You all speak about the rights of the individual. You speak as if each and every one of you wouldn't stab each other in the back the moments that have benefited yourselves. You may hate the nobility. You may curse, scream, and blame us for all of your little problems. But the truth is that you need us. You need us to direct and lead you. You need us to maintain the fragile order that upholds your peaceful little lives together. Talk about protecting the common folk from themselves, but the truth is that your actions led to the death of an innocent man. That is the only truth that matters. Gah. The defense has no further questions for the witness. He is dismissed. Very well. Then what happened? What about all this other stuff? We didn't use the fish. Or did we? Huh. I still don't know how this door opened. Like, I guess we won the case, but this story is far from wrapped up. Like, who's the eye taker? We did it again, Tyrion. And we even caught another murderer in the process. No, manslaughterer. Yeah, we couldn't get the case officially dismissed today, see? But it's pretty much inevitable with the evidence that we brought in today. Actually, it probably won't even reach that point. I've advised Lord Von Sanctus to drop the suit entirely. Word has already spread regarding the evidence that you brought forward. At this point, prolonging the trial would just harm his public image even more. That's great! Now you can build a case against him for Justin's death. About that, I'll probably be forced to rescue myself from any charges brought against him. Oh, so you need a defense attorney. What? Why? It's because you represented him in this suit, isn't it? It would be considered a conflict of interest to prosecute him yourself, even though you're probably the only prosecutor that would convict him successfully. Do I get to be the prosecutor now? You are correct. As the head of one of the Pillar families, he has the justice system dancing in the palm of his hand. He will definitely be quietly and swiftly acquitted. I would have never agreed to represent him if I had known about this. I'm truly sorry. Aw. Damn it, he must have had this planned all along. No, is he seriously gonna get away with this? I wouldn't be so sure about that. Dracogen. He may be acquitted in the legal sense, but the court of public opinion is a different thing entirely. What do you mean? You brought forward a myriad of evidence against him, and I'm sure everyone in the gallery saw it too. Von Sanctus's power relies on his public image, and you quite handily tore down that facade. He may walk free, but his power and ideals have taken a great blow. But is that seriously all we can do? His actions and recklessness have resulted in the death of Justin Way. He should be punished within the letter of the law. You're not wrong, Mr. Cuthbert, but sometimes we must take the victories that we can get. Ugh, she's probably right. There's still one thing that's nagging at me. Oh, and what's that? Why was your safe unlocked if nothing was stolen? If Justin had gotten into your safe, he would have taken your gold with him. It wouldn't still be there. Considering that nothing is missing, I'd rather leave it at that. Maybe he did just leave it unlocked. But the door... Oh. Wait. How did... Like, the Justin could have broken in, but how did the construct get in the building? I just snuck in with somebody. There's so much more going on right now. Justin was a good man. I'd rather not taint anyone's memory of him, especially Mosarika's. Right, she was pretty upset about your accusations. Nothing was taken, so no harm was done in that regard. I suppose so. But I can't help but wonder what actually happened. Yeah, me neither. Are we gonna find out? Huh. Alright, GG. Here we go. It just makes no damn sense to me. The kid successfully robbed the guy days ago. No one saw him. No one even suspected him. But then he breaks into the place again? Also, he could put back the stolen gold? Does this make any sense to you, Eris? Perhaps he felt remorse for his actions, Father. I actually thought that I Take Her was gonna end up being her. But not everyone can betray the people they love so easily. And if that's true, I feel like there's a sense of tragic beauty to it all. If he'd ever tried to do the right thing, he would have never encountered the construct in the first place. He would have paid his debt, and he would still have his life. It's true what they say. No good deed goes unpunished. It's a shame about the gold, though. I think we've more than made a profit today. I, for one, am happy to have claimed a boatload of tithes today. So they stole the boat. Alright, well, I guess they just ran out of time and filled in all the loose ends with that. But my character doesn't know. I still think Rika's suspicious.